Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at 4 or 5 brawlers which are secretly really strong in the game right now. I think since all of the top teams from around the world are flying over to Europe pretty soon for the World Finals, there's been a lot of scrims that I've been watching and a lot of really strong brawlers which I think are going under the radar. So, going to be going through these brawlers right now. And of course, if you want to see some other Power League content, make sure to check out my second channel where I'll be facing off against a lot of pro players on there. So of course, before we jump into it, make sure you're using a credit code. That'd be greatly appreciated. And without further ado, let's hop into it. Alright guys, so jumping into, I would say, the most broken brawler, well, one of the most secretly broken brawlers in the game right now, it has to be Spike. So I know a lot of you guys were kind of flaming me when I did my hypercharge tier list and said Spikes wasn't one of the best hypercharges. I'll put my hands up. Okay, I was wrong a little bit, and the pros just started to use Spike a lot out of nowhere. Literally, they should be taking advice from you guys. They call themselves the pro players. I'm only joking, but Spike literally is the second most used hypercharge out of every single brawler in scrims right now. So I'll put a link to the guy that's doing all the stats in the top of the description. By the way, he's an analyst for one of the top teams. I've just found so many of the stats interesting. Like, these are the stats I would like to pull out myself, but he's just put it together. And it's really interesting because Spike is super versatile right now, and he's being picked so often when it comes down to Brawl. He's being drafted even in some weirdest scenarios, and of course his hypercharge can really help him out. But I just think he's a safe brawler right now. We've seen a lot of pretty decent mid brawlers, not mid brawlers, lane brawlers, like Sandy, for example, like Nita, where Spike can do pretty decent against, and he can still be very, very good against tanks. And of course, tanks will charge up his hypercharge even more. And his super with the hypercharge, you know, it's not really like OP or anything, but it's actually just really good at zoning even more. It's like a loose super essentially. So that's why I really like Spike right now, specifically on pretty much any map really, especially on maps with a lot of walls. You can get even more value with that super. So he's just super easy to use as well. He's one of the most just drafted brawlers as well when I was watching ESL at the moment. So just going to show how incredibly strong Spike is right now. So just going to auto him that super and just manage to trap Bull in so easy. And as long as I've got some pieces of ammo saved up when I use my hypercharge, I'm just going to run through everyone and melt them. It's such a scary prospect with Spike. You see there, just one hypercharge was able to carry me. I've got to be careful here though, because we have a Bull hypercharge popping in a second. We can use our super to slow him down though. Hopefully, okay, no. Blue hypercharge is going to be too much for us, I believe, unless we can get a crazy defense, and somehow we managed to save that. That was okay. That was pretty insane. I was not expecting to save that one, especially whilst live recording. But we're about to get our hypercharge in a second. You can see here, I've already just cycled 3 hypercharges. The first one I kind of wasted, but here's another one right here. We're able to trap 2 people in the hypercharge, and we should be able to get another hypercharge super right here, but it didn't even matter. We kind of wasted it. But that's going to be the first brawler. Seriously, Spike is insane. I would say easily an S-tier brawler at the moment. Make sure to abuse him as much as possible before he's eventually going to get a hypercharge nerf. It is pretty evident. Let's hop into the next one. Right, guys, jumping into the next brawler, which I don't think it's really like secretly OP, but it's definitely been actually surprising to me how strong she is on certain game modes. So the one game mode in particular I'm actually very surprised about, it is this game mode right here, Gem Grab. She's being used as a mid gem carrier pretty much all of the time. Of course, she's a fantastic counter to one of the best mids in the game in 8-bit. That's a big reason why she's actually catapulted to the top of the Gem Grab meta. But like as a mid consistently across a lot of different maps, it is kind of crazy to me. And I'm seeing her in other scenarios as well. Just yesterday, I seen Linane play Colette on Dry Season Bounty, which again is insane. And I don't think he was even facing any tanks, and he still managed to win. So just going to show how strong hypercharge a Colette can really be. I think the main thing is, again, it's just a hypercharge. Being able to just even have that one pop-off moment throughout the game is just enough. And just look at that, you're easily able to charge another super with the hypercharge, which is just broken. I'm not too sure what this Frank is doing. Is he even playing the game? I'm not even too sure. This guy is just, okay, I think he's just very bad at the game. So although we're against some really bad randoms, I think it's just evident to me that Colette is just insanely strong right now. Could easily be an S-tier brawler as well, especially with all of these tanks. So that's going to be another brawler which is really strong. I don't think there's really any surprise by this one, but she's starting to be used a lot more outside of Heist. She's been using Hot Zone, Gem Grab, Brawl, Bounty, literally every single game mode except for Knockout. I'm seeing a Colette. So very, very strong. Make sure to try her out. Guys, jumping into the next brawler, which I think is secretly really strong in the game right now, we have Gale. So I thought since the new hyperchargers came out, like Colette, for example, I thought Gale was just gonna automatically go off a little bit just because there's better tank counters out there. But I think he's still just as strong as he was in the previous meta. I think he easily, I wouldn't really say like anywhere close to the A tier, but he's a really underrated like C tier pick. He's got his niche, but in the right setting can be very strong. Of course, on open maps, he's already very, very underrated because of the amount of damage he can put out. It is secretly a lot of damage. He absolutely shreds whilst in the open. I'm just seeing him drafted a lot in competitive. So, of course, there's a few reasons to this. I think the main reason is that a lot of teams right now are banning the best hypercharged brawlers, which, of course, just shred through tanks. The Colettes lose. Shelly, for example. And then you kind of think, oh, who's really next to counter those tanks? It is still Gale. He can be a very scary prospect for a lot of these aggro players. He can, well, brawlers, I mean. And again, look at this Tara. I can just deal so much damage to her. I should be able to take her down easily, even without the stun star power in the open. So it's got some pretty good range to him. And I've also seen a few strategies as well. I've seen SK Gaming. They broke open the map a lot on Hot Potato and tried to use Gale, like his damage, to their advantage. Didn't really work out too much, but just goes to show that they definitely value their Gale pick. I'm seeing him a lot in Heist. I'm just seeing him in a lot of different scenarios where typically I think a lot of people won't really feel accustomed to using him, so they're just showing how strong he could be in that scenario. He's got a few underrated mechanics about him as well. I've seen him used a lot on the gem grab map, but I just played him last stop just because of how perfect the lanes are for his main attack. I don't know, I think I've just disgraced Gale for a long time, that I'm just really trying to make my amends, because he's a pretty good brawler, you know. He doesn't have to be as broken as his previous state. I think he's still in a fantastic spot, so we should just be able to finish this one easily. Okay, maybe not, but still we're able to get down. Rico with 20 seconds left, we should be able to hold on to this dub. Ball just gives us the ball. I felt like I could have scored there. Definitely, he gave us the ball in a really good position. Spike's going to be able to pop off with his hypercharge, and look at him just delete everyone. Thankfully Maisie pops her hypercharge as well. And that's going to be the kill on Ball, and that's going to be GG's. So yeah, Gale, I still think is pretty strong in this meta. Definitely has a lot of usage in Brawl, Gem Grab as a lane a lot of the times. Pretty much on every single Gem Grab map. I've seen him used all the time in Heist as well. Hot Zone, of course, is very strong in Split and Dueling Beetles. It's just always a kind of avenue to take with Gale, even if it's not against tanks. But that's going to be another brawler. Let's hop into the next one. Alright guys, so jumping into the final brawler, which I think is very underrated in the meta right now, and secretly really strong, it has to be Mortis. So Mortis is being played so much in scrims right now. Like, his use rate has just gone through the roof. So the main reason being is because he's a fantastic last pick option. He can be very good against a lot of the top meta brawlers as a last pick. I wouldn't recommend picking him anywhere else throughout the draft, but he can just be a nuisance. I'm actually seeing him played a lot in Brawl as a last pick, and he's actually got a pretty high win rate. I think he has one of the highest win rates right now in the game, which is saying a lot, because when you think about ladder, Mortis actually has one of the worst win rates. So just going to show that the pros know how to use him. It's just your randoms in Brawl don't know how to use him whatsoever. So yeah, I'm not a pro. I don't know how to use Mortis too much. Hopefully Fang doesn't spot us right here, but we should be able to get some good chains off. But B is definitely the matchup that we want, so I'm going to use my gadget to get into his face. Unfortunately, Fang is a little bit of an annoying matchup for us since he has his stuns. But again, we just got to try and bypass that matchup as much as possible. He's been used a lot in Bounty. I think that's the main game mode I've seen him picked on, whether it's Shooting Star, whether it's Dry Season. I'm seeing him drafted so... Oh, okay, that was a terrible play, but still, he's going to go down anyways. But yeah, I've seen him played a lot there. I've even seen him use Knockout as the last pick as well, so he's a dangerous pick. I think if anything, he's actually a little bit more of a dangerous last pick than Fang. I think it's a lot easier to just get onto the right matchup quickly because of that long dash, and ever since this mechanic came out, he's just been getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you learned something, but we're going to try and improve the competitive content, building up to the World Finals, which is literally in a week's or so's time. So I just want to be building it up on a second channel and other stuff. Let me know what type of content you want to see in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.